want to know how can I make my meditation practice align with my art practice and make them grow together, because that's where I find my most truest self.
When you say it's the process by which you find yourself, I know what you mean by that. I think really your art, from what you say, my intuition is that your artwork is really, or the process of your art is the means by which you lose yourself. I suspect that when you're in the flow of your artwork, you're not referencing yourself as a person. You're not conscious of yourself as a person. You're completely in the process. You lose your sense of yourself as a person. That's what a sports player aims for in their sport. They don't often realize that. They think they're playing the game in order to win. No, they're not. They're playing the game because when they give themselves totally 100% to the game, they have no sense of their self as a person. That is blissful. That's the experience they're going for. So, and of course, when they cease performing their art or engaging in their sport, their old sense of being a separate self comes back with a vengeance. And they often find the contrast between the time when they're engaged in their sport and their art and the time when they're not. It's such a strong contrast that they become very often dysfunctional in their everyday life. They're not able to integrate the loss of the sense of a separate self that they discover when they're fully engaged in their creativity. They're not able to integrate that experience with their everyday life when they're not performing or playing. Not performing, creating or playing. So there's a discrepancy between the two. So what's important as an artist is that you not only have the ability to lose your sense of yourself in the process. That's not enough for an artist or a sports player. It is, if you're going to perform at the height of your art, your creativity or your sport, you have to have that ability. Great artists or sports players, or when they're performing at the height of their abilities, there's no ego present. That's what enables them. That's why when you watch a really great player or a great musician or a great artist, we feel that they do things that are impossible, that are sublime. Because they have truly transcended their self. You have to transcend yourself to perform at that level in sports or creativity. And that's why for someone who isn't able to do that, or at least isn't able to do that in that field, when we look at such a person, a sports player, who's performing at that level, you feel that what they're doing is sublime. It's not just sports. It's not about winning the game. It's something sublime. It's something beautiful. And such a person represents transcendence. Those people that are not able to perform at that level in sports or creativity, the great sports people, the great artists, they represent. For the rest of humanity. They represent transcendence. They give people a taste of what is possible through their art or through their performance or through their sports. That's why people love, that's why we go to concerts, why we go to exhibitions, it's why we go to football matches or tennis matches. Do you think we really care about who wins the game? It doesn't matter. It's not why we go. We go to be taken beyond ourselves. We go to be taken to transcendence. To transcend, by which I mean to transcend those elements of our experience which previously limited us. We go to lose ourselves, not to lose our real sense. We go to lose our limitations, to touch the eternal in us. But in order to do that, an artist or a sports person, it's not enough just that they transcend themselves. They then have to have the skill. So it's a combination of transcendence and skill, technique. Technique itself isn't enough. That doesn't lead to transcendence. Yeah, it leads to, you can be a good artist, a good tennis player, a good footballer, but it's got to be more than skill. You've got to have skill and transcendence. That's when your work becomes really inspirational. And that is what touches people's hearts. Yeah, exactly. That's what has people on the edge of their seat in the cinema or the stadium. You have to have both. You have to lose yourself in your process, but then you have to have the skill as well. You have to know the A to Z of your craft backwards, so that your faculties are then used in the service of transcendence and not in the service of the separate self or ego.